In this video, I'm going to move this attic ladder, and we're going to do it right now. Here we are back in my bedroom remodel, which I am totally gutting, and I have this attic ladder right here, and it drops down basically right where those marks are in the middle of the room. And I actually got some comments asking if I was going to leave it there, and that's what really got me thinking. And I decided, no, I'm not going to leave it here. It doesn't really make sense. So I thought the best place to put it would be right here in the hallway. This hallway is still unfinished, so now's a good time to do this. And I measured it out. It's going to fit perfectly. It is going to hang past this wall a little bit, so you will see it looking from down there, but that's fine with me. It's going to drop down right here and land just about here-ish. Now if we go upstairs, we can see the framing all exposed right here. I took the insulation out, and I'm going to have to cut out this joist right here and frame this in. I'm also going to have to move that wiring. I was going to put a light in the center of the hallway here, but I'll just shift it that way. Another thing I had to take into account is the head height. You can see this is the center wall. You can see where that one lands, probably about 1.5 feet off of the center line that goes straight up to the ridge. So when I do this one, I'm going to get it as close as I can here, so I'll have even more head height right here, because I am bumping this up to put more insulation in. So that will be in a perfect spot, and then I can have all this for storage, because that one's kind of in an awkward spot anyways. Okay, so first thing I want to do is figure out where this is going, and then I can make some holes through here so I know where to put my framing upstairs. I'm going to frame it out before I cut a hole or anything. So first thing, let's get the center right here, about where I think this is going. Mark the center. Now the trim I'm going to use is 2.5 inches wide, but I want to give plenty of room. I don't want it tight to this crown molding. I'm going to make this 4 inches. And right here. So the rough opening of this framing is going to be 22.5. That'll give me about 1/4 inch on each side. So I'm going to do 11.25 from the center mark. 11.25. And that will give me 11.75. Whoops. Whoopsie. Always double check your measurements. 11.25 here. 11.25 over here. That will give me 22.5. I'm going to measure that 4 inches. 4 inches off of here, closer to that mark. Check, make sure it's even off of the crown. 7 3/8. 7 3/8. So that's my first 2 holes, and we'll move on to the other side. Now the rough opening this way is 54 inches. I'm going to hold my tape to that mark, and then mark right here, 54 inches. Do the same on the other side, 54. And again, I want to get my center mark, and 22.5, so we'll go 11.25, 11.25 over here. So now I got all 4 corners marked out for the rough opening of this attic ladder framing. So I'm going to take a small drill bit and just drill a hole in each of these spots. I have a small drill bit. If I happen to hit strapping, I might need a longer one, because this is actually double strapped because the ceiling was all messed up. So I corrected that. So we'll see. did not hit strapping. So now I got my 4 holes. I got one right there, one right there, one right there, and one right under here. So next step is to make way for the new framing. Take this cross bracing out and move that wiring. And by the way, another factor of deciding where to put one of these is the framing. I am going along this way, so I only have to cut out one joist, and this is a really good spot because everything around it is nice and solid. This piece right here is attached to the studs on the old outside wall. Right here, there's actually a wall underneath here. Not necessarily load bearing, but this is only holding up the ceiling, so there's really no worries there. This joist goes back to a beam in the bathroom, and actually there's a wall right there, a 2x3 wall. So I don't have to support anything underneath this when I cut it out. I'm gonna do a double from here over there because these two are nice and solid. And then I'll run new joists from that double, a single right there, and then on this side, a single right there, all with joist hangers right here. And then I'll just put a piece in between those and attach it to this. And I won't have to support, I don't need a joist hanger or anything on that when I cut it, because that is being supported by that center wall. So it all depends on how your house is framed. But in my case, this is a pretty simple, I'm gonna say it, pretty simple install. I don't have to hack out a bunch of structure in order to get this in here. Just one little ceiling joist that is literally only holding up this drywall. I'm gonna remove this electrical. This is not live. This is gonna be tied into the bedroom. These are the lights for the hallway. Actually really cool lights from Halo that I will be featuring in a video at some point. Unfortunately, I do have to disconnect these right here because I have to pull this wire through this joist because it is like basically right where I need to put the new joist, right where I need to cut this one. And these really aren't made to come apart, so I might end up having to just cut this. Yeah, I think that's what's gonna happen. I'll reroute this afterwards. I gotta get these cross braces out of the way. So I have one hole right here and one hole right here. I'm just gonna circle those so they're easier to see and I don't lose them. And I'm gonna use this piece of cross bracing to make a straight line between those two so I can figure out where my double's going. So that's the end of the rough framing. So if I take my square, I got a mark right here. So that is where I want the rough opening to be. And I want to do a double this way. So I'm going to mark 3 inches back right here, because each piece is 1.5 inches. And then I'm gonna make a mark right here. And then this is where I want to cut it. Okay. I'm gonna make my cut here. If I wanted a super straight cut to about here, I could use a circular saw and then cut it the rest of the way with a Sawzall, but I'm going to use a Sawzall and try and make a nice straight cut. So I've double checked my rough opening, which is 54 inches. So from here, I have to add 3 inches. So I go 54 and then 1, 2, 3, because I cut an extra 3 inches out there for the double. Then I also want to cut this back 1.5 inches because I'm going to do a single this way, 1.5. So that's 58.5. Mark this. All right. I just want to get this piece out of the way, and it's in there really good. I'm just going to cut it in a couple sections and make it easier to take out. I'll get it right out of my way. I'm going to put a couple nails in this 2x6 into these studs, just a little extra support. I'm going to measure for this double. Another way to do this, by the way, would be to run these first all the way back to that beam. That's going to be a pain to get to, so this is just as good for my situation. Okay, I'm going to cut 2 of those. So I am using 2x6, just like what is here. I want to make sure I can get joist hangers in here. Okay, should be good. I'll just lay this one over here like that. Make sure I can get my hanger over here. I think I can. Got it. Next piece. Now I can do the joist hangers. Joist hangers are on. So now with this double in place, everything here on back is supported. The ceiling joist, strapping and everything, that ceiling's all good. And this is also going to act as my support for these pieces that go this way onto that center wall. So I'm going to take a measurement for those and go cut them and bring them up here. I have my pieces cut, and I'm going to frame this a little funky. There is 2 reasons for it. So that's the hole right there. That should be the rough opening. So what I'm going to do with these pieces is I'm actually going to hold it 1.5 inches back like this. Put a joist hanger on that one. Do the same thing on that side. Hold it 1.5 inches back from that. And then I am going to cut right here, the strapping, all along here, and then I'm going to take my next piece, I'm going to take another piece and drop it right down to the drywall. That's going to do 2 things. Number 1, that will give me a spot to screw the drywall to without having to fill in all of these gaps here where there's strapping missing. And the second reason is, this is where you attach the ladder. The main points are where these metal brackets are. So the most important ones are this one, the side, and this side, and back here isn't really as important. You can get screws in here, but that's all you need. Most of the weight is going to be right here and on these brackets. So when I put these in, you can see where they landed. That bottom one, not a lot of meat there. That's into the strapping. And on this side, I did get one up nice and high. But I want to make sure that this gets into plenty of framing, so I know it's nice and secure. And you can see right here, it's only one piece of strapping. And over here, I had to double strap it, so it's going to be even worse. So I'm going to cut that back 1.5 inches and do the same thing in the front, since that is where it's the most important. I think that's going to be the way to go. But I can attach these pieces 1.5 inches back from those marks and go from there. Make sure my joist hangers can go in there. So again, I'm going to cut this back 1.5 inches. Plans change. I'm going to hack this out right here. $25.5. I could do joist hangers here, but I don't think it's necessary. Hold this one 1.5 inches, that hole. Nail into this top plate. Toenail, that'll tell me where this piece needs to go. I can take this piece out. Now what I want to do is cut through each piece of this strapping, but not cut through the drywall. And in case this stuff starts moving around, because nothing is attached, just make some marks. I got an idea. Because the blade's not deep enough. There we go. Yeah, that'll make it easier. All right, those are all cut out. Do a little house cleaning. This piece in first. Nice. I'm just gonna rest it on the drywall like that. I don't want to push that drywall down at all. I got plenty to nail to here into this piece. And then that way I'll be able to screw the drywall into the bottom here. this piece, I just hacked out a little bit right here for the joist hanger. Let's see if I did it enough. Again, I don't want to push this drywall down. I do want this to be tight. Good. Nail that one off. Putting plenty of nails in. This piece, notch over here. Perfect. Those pieces are in. You can take a look at where the holes are. Right there. It's even with that framing over here. About a quarter off, which is totally fine. And even with that framing. And on this side, they're exactly in the corner. That one's maybe an eighth off. That's perfect. So what I'm gonna do with this vapor barrier is I'm just gonna cut it every corner like this. Cut it like this. I'm gonna take it and fold it up and staple it. Why not? And then this one, I'm just going to put one staple in because I need to fill this in for the drywall down there. Now I'm going to take my handy dandy multi-tool and just make a couple of straight marks in the corners and then in the middle here. And then I can connect it downstairs and cut it out from down there, just so it's a nice and clean cut. All right, connect the dots. And cut it. Now I need to fill this piece in. I already took a measurement and cut this. And I got some screws attached here so I can maneuver it in. Now what I want to do is I'm going to drill a hole right here so I can get a screw into the framing on both sides. Basically just going through the drywall. I'll go right here. And then, why not? Do one right here. Now I'm going to get some 3-inch screws and attach this framing. Nice. I can take these out. Staple this plastic up. And I'm going to use my drywall gun and attach this drywall all the way around. And all this should be covered by trim. Nice. So the opening is cut out. It's all framed in. Drywall is reattached. All that's left is the tricky part. And that is to transfer this from here to here. So what's tricky about this is these screws, I put timber locks in here, and then these screws are installed afterwards, and this ladder has to be down to take them out. But the problem with that is, take the screws out, this thing's gonna fall out with me on it. And the reason for that is, the way I hung this is I attached the trim to it, and then I carelessly, by myself, put it up in place and then nailed it. And in doing so, attached it enough where I could pull the ladder down and attach all the screws. And because it's the easiest way I know of, I'm going to attach it the same way. I don't recommend doing it by yourself, but we'll see how that goes when we get to that point. But right now, what I have to do is I have to attach this in some way where I can remove these screws. It's not like I can close this and put some strapping or something across here because, like I said, I need the ladder to be open when I remove them. And if I leave it open like this and put strapping like this, it's gonna be a real nightmare anyways as I remove the strapping and catch the ladder by myself. So I'm gonna come up with something and we'll see how it goes. Okay, flash forward, I think I got it. So I attach these pieces to the frame, like so, all around. So I can still open it, take those screws out all the way around, and then I can push it straight up and drop it down right here. I have a piece of 3/4 right here, and then a couple 2x4s, and that will drop it down so that I can get my trim on, and then I can push it up where it needs to be. And the reason I'm not just putting these 2x4s tight is because this does hang down a 1/4 inch, and I'll never get that perfect to where it'll be nice and tight. So I figured I'd put a piece of 3/4 in there, and I'll have about a 1/2 inch to play with. So that's what I'm gonna do. Take these stairs, pull them down, remove all the screws, push it up, drop it in, put the trim on, attach it, pull it down, attach all the screws, put the rest of the trim on, and done. Easy peasy, right? I think this is gonna work. Only one way to find out. Some of these bolts I actually have to have the ladder up a little bit to get to. It was pretty aggressive of me to put those bolts in. Actually, I can probably get them all off this ladder. Might be safer, just in case something happens. All right, we can close it. Now let's see if I can push it up. Very tight. Probably because of the shims. Never as easy as you think it's gonna be. Whoa. Okay. There we go. It's not heavy, it's just awkward. I do have to spin it anyways, so. fun. This is where you put the dog in the bedroom, just in case. Easy peasy. Ooh. Look at that fit. All right, it's sitting right where it needs to be. Now you can see it's dropped down a little bit here, and I messed that up a little bit from the Sawzall. That's okay. Now I can put these 2 pieces of trim on that side, and attach it, and remove these 2x4s and attach it the rest of the way. I'm gonna reuse the trim that I put on here. It's a little rough, nothing a little caulking and paint can't fix. Now I can do this side. Now I can take my measurements, make sure I'm even all the way around. 5 1/4. This way a little bit. 5 3/8. 5 3/8. 5 3/8. 5 3/8. I'm gonna push this straight up, this side, and nail it. Make sure I get into that 2x6 right there. Plenty of nails in it. Make sure it's nice and straight. The trim is nice and straight. That should be all I need for now to hold that up, so I can take these 2x4s off. Take these pieces of strapping down while I'm at it. Now I can carefully pull this down, and I'm just going to leave it like this and go upstairs and attach it all the way around. Shim it and screw it. Attic ladder is installed. Now I just have a couple finishing touches to do. This ceiling is a little lower than the one in the bedroom, so this actually needs to be cut. This angle is a little off, and it kind of bows in as you climb it. So I'm gonna fold this up, and that's actually where it should be. And I'm gonna take a tape measure and hold it nice and straight like this to see where it hits. 10 3/4. Then on the back side, 9 3/4. 10 3/4, 9 3/4. Make a mark on this side and do the same thing on the other side. Use my favorite tool ever. Circular saw would just kick up dust way too much. So I'll cut it with this. One stinky. Oh yeah. We'll see how long these actually stay there, but I'm gonna put some pads at the bottom so it doesn't mess up the floor too much. I could put nails going up this way, but then I would worry that eventually it's just gonna wear through the pad and then the nail will mess up the floor. So, like I said, we'll see how long this sticks. There you go. Cool. I'm reusing more old trim right here. The only thing here is there's a metal bracket right here, this hinge, where I can't get nails in. Okay. Now the last thing is the switch for the light up here. It was right here, and I'm gonna try and move it just by taking the wires off over to one of these rafters here, so it's closer to the opening. We'll do it live. That looks like a good spot. So now I have a big empty hole in the middle of the room. I'll just continue the strapping and I can hang drywall, and this entire ceiling will be nice and flat. I won't have to worry about moving stuff to take the stairs down, like all this crap that I need to clean up. I think this is a way better spot in the hallway. If I have bigger stuff, I can open the bathroom door and bring it out this way, but the stairs come out to about here. So I have plenty of room to get stuff up and in and out of the attic. Happy with my decision. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you want to see more content like this, you can click hereish and check those videos out. And if you haven't subscribed yet, definitely consider it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Yep, it happened. Knew that was going to happen. Luckily, I didn't fall through. I knew it! I knew it would happen.